Hi there, Capricorns. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Astrogirl, and we're looking at May 18 through May 24th. This week, the big news is Mercury retrograding, May 19 through June 11. It's the second time of the year that Mercury's retrograding. If you can think back to January, it was retrograde in your sign. So now it's retrograding in Gemini, which is a sign that it rules along with Virgo. So it's going to be a more intense cerebral Mercury retrograde because Gemini, of course, is the sign of communication, the messenger of the zodiac, the chit-chat sign. And with Mercury, the planet of conversation, the planner of the zodiac, going out of phase in Gemini, along with the sun moving into Gemini, words can be weapons. I know the saying is actions speak louder than words. But for the next 3 weeks, words can definitely hurt and cause a lot of trouble. So you have to really think before you speak. Now for you, it's retrograding in your 6th house of hard work, service to others, health and well-being. Definitely a time when you will, find that work-wise that you're not as invested as you have been and that you really have to pull out all the stops to get to work on time and to be as enthused as you might have been earlier in the year. It's also a time when you could do something really silly at work, like CC someone on an email that they should not read. And so to avoid that, no CCing. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes we make. And I hear it all the time, that someone who shouldn't have read a confidential or personal or private email read it on us because they were CC, that you get those chain things. And sometimes you get them from people you haven't seen or thought of in 10 years, and how on earth it still happens. Or you get spam email or something like that, and you can see where you've been CC'd on it. Be really careful at work, especially if it's something to do with wages or something to do with who's getting fired or something to do with unrest at work. And in the health and well-being department, if you're not feeling up to par, if you're not feeling well, don't go looking on websites and don't go looking on WebMD to find out, because I promise you, they will tell you, that you've got a very rare African disease, some of the things that I have been diagnosed with when I have gone on and listed my symptoms. And afterwards I've thought, wow, that was something, Don't go looking for information which you're going to be horrified to find out, because 95% of it isn't true or is the extreme. It's like in the worst scenario. So don't go looking and misreading signals either. This is also a very interesting, hectic Friday when the sun meets up with Saturn, which is your ruling planet, which is currently out of phase in your 12th house of past karma. You could run into somebody from your past or come up against a situation where you feel very much deja vu, or where you're dealing with the same old issue again. Could be personal, professional, could be both. And where this time you have to make a far more important, far-reaching, definitive decision and stick to it. And whatever you decide, you have to abide by it as well. Saturn takes life very seriously. Serious Saturn, meeting up with the sun in Gemini. That's your 6th house of hard work, health and well-being, and Saturn in your 12th house of past karma and subconscious, all of which will be tied in somehow. And you probably already know exactly what I'm talking about. So be on the lookout for that on Friday. Have a great week, and I'll tell you more about Mercury retrograde next week.